you felt the officers weren't completely forthcoming, and they were required to be. I mean, they compelled to tell the truth and give a statement. And I think what we have here is a group of people trying to minimize what took place because, you know, Chairman Dupuis probably did have too much to drink, did operate his vehicle while he's intoxicated and couldn't make it home and passed out in a parking lot. Good thing he didn't kill somebody. But his thing is that he closed his bar tab, doesn't remember anything after that point at Marley's. Doesn't remember going to City Bar. It says he discovered later he also went to City Bar. That's what it says. I don't know if I believe him or not.
He discovered later?
Yeah.
He said he don't ever remember going there.
I think if you reference the officers that came into contact with him the following morning, he was still way out of it. I don't think he knew where he was at. So it's possible.
Now, and Greg, I agree with you on this. Dupuis violated General Order 201.1, general conduct under intoxicants. Employees shall not appear in public in such a state of intoxication as to reflect discredit upon the police department. If you don't remember, he obviously was pretty damn drunk. The investigation also revealed that certain officers were not forthcoming in their statements. They did not provide information that they were consuming alcohol in City Bar on the morning of October 4th, and they were. And it was after 2 a.m. The problem is, did they purchase it, or was the bar closed and they were given alcohol?
Bar was closed and they were given alcohol. Brittany, I'm not sorry. Bridget Poulard gave a statement saying that certain officers, she couldn't remember who, but that collective group that was there, the owner allowed them to go behind the bar and choose whatever drink of their choice and consume alcohol without paying for it. When he actually came in,
he let them go behind that bar and pick their own drink?
That's it. That's in her statement.
You know why, huh? So he could not be accused of serving it.
But the city ordinance doesn't say anything about serving. It just say consumption.
And he was cited for it.
So he had to purchase it. Well, there's a problem with that summons. We're basing it on statements we got from the police officers.
His own. Through his own admission. Either way, he was in a catch-22 because he opened the bar after hours and allowed patrons to be in it after 2:30.
That would also violate.
Yeah, but I think you can do that
if you're employees of the bar, or if your vendors coming in to, like clean or to deliver alcohol or something like that. That's the only loophole in that you can use. But they were actually there as patrons.
My concern about the summons is that did we use compelled statements to make a criminal violation? Because you can't use a compelled statement to make a criminal violation.
Compelled statement on
the witness.
But I think he said that
officer witnesses.
On Brandon's own statement, he admitted he opened the place up.
Yeah,
and he was advised of his rights, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And he gave a statement after you advised him of his rights?
He didn't give a statement, a recorded statement. He
said, I reserve my right to remain silent and not give you a statement without an attorney.
You had me check on that a while back, if you don't mind me
objecting. Yeah, because we can't use we set a bad example if we use a compelled statement to get a guy on a criminal charge.
But it's okay to do
I mean, we opened the door.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is officers are going to say, it's a compelled statement. You can't use my statement in a criminal case. Which is why we do an ongoing criminal and internal investigation at the same time.
Well, you're mixing the Garrity and the police officer's Bill of Rights, because the Garrity rule comes into place and it warns him that anything you say administrative-wise won't be used in a criminal proceeding. And that's where CID or somebody else comes in and give you the actual advice of rights form.
Like,
In a criminal, yeah.
We got an opinion on that.
Okay.
And it was that it can't be used criminally, they mean against the officer, not that information can't be used in a criminal matter. Yeah.
And this guy wasn't in the capacity as a police officer.
No,
he's
a reserve officer, but
But at the time, he was a citizen.
Yeah.
You have a copy then?
The summons?
That's it.
Yeah. That's a copy in there.
Okay. This was my copy that Greg provided me.
all right. So, do we have enough to go after the witness officers on violating, if they weren't completely forthcoming in there, they violated the general order. They violated a PPM that says you got to be truthful in your investigation. How do we prove they were not? Can we prove they were not forthcoming? And then we would have to place all of them under investigation, and their statements were compelled.
Well, I can say this. They gave statements, and basically it was consistent on the lines that they went in there, the guy allowed them to go in there to hang out, play pool, and play on this machine that you hit to test your strength. Everybody, with the exception of Bridget, omit the part about going behind the bar and serving alcohol. Yeah. Now, why would she make a statement and say that, and everybody else come in and don't make that statement? And
did you ask them specifically? Did you go behind the bar, or she was one of the last?
She was pretty much the last one on the tail end that provided that information.
So they weren't asked that.
Yeah. But it's hard for anybody to believe that limited amount of people in that bar, nobody else in there, you're not going to see anybody with a drink in your hand.
I agree with you. But I guess my question is, where do we go from here on those witnesses? Do we say, hey, look, you weren't completely forthcoming, here's a little letter of caution to warn you? Does it amount to, we got to do an investigation on them?
But
we would have to use Bridget's process.
That's what I was thinking. My concern...
And that was something Greg had discussed.
These guys, their credibility, if you discipline them, their credibility about lying is always going to be with them.
And how far
I know it's a bad thing that he did, but I'm just saying...
Well, he just had an officer yesterday, and he admitted he lied.
My concern is that a lot of those and that's some SWAT guys and all that stuff.
Yeah,
prone to be
that would be...
But when you go out like that, you start partying. That's what I was talking about in Comstock the other day about misconduct. I'm surprised, but it turns out that Grayson was the one who had enough sense to cut himself off, start drinking water, and ended up being the designated driver.
But that's what he's saying. But
no, some other people had said that Joel and his wife had stopped or whatever.
It was just Grayson. It was just Grayson.
Grayson and Malazzo. One of them had stopped drinking.
It was
Malazzo never went over to City
Malazzo never went over. He and his girlfriend.
City Bar. He went to Marley's.
I think he left Marley's before it ever closed. Greg and I talked about it on more than one occasion, and I think he notes some things that are poignant in this, in that we're seeing a kind of a trend where officers are taking things for granted. They're not considering
consequences of their actions.
Yeah, things like that. And in discussing it with Greg, the lack of ethics education, or specifically on that, I know it's covered in the academy, and
it's covered in FTO. It's covered once a year there for ethics training.
Well,
now, do you pay attention? No.
Well, I can put it this way. I went to the one in October, and I'm not knocking them guys. I think that crew they got now in training They're young, they're progressive, you know, they're trying to get realistic training. I don't think they go in depth as far as giving real on-hands examples of what can occur and what violations that you're actually violating. If those guys actually see, look, this general order here, this is what the consequences can happen. And I'll give you examples. Let's say you go out and you do this, you can get dinged on this.
Right.
We have in-house examples.
Well, part of the instructions to the training unit to develop this supervisor training program for all ranks, and that would be conducted simultaneously with in-service, is that we take our own cases of things that have happened to people over the years, all the ones that have been adjudicated for. And we take out all the names and everything, and we just set it up as a general scenario. Here's what happened on this case. Here are the results of this case.
What you would do.
And that kind of thing. Because right now you have sergeants who are partying with their squads, and they one of the guys, man.
We were just talking about that.
It's like they buds, and it's, you know, and like, you know, I'm friendly with Ned Ewan. I don't go to his house and eat supper. But if Ned Ewan or Dwayne or Grimmy, and they have never invited me to their home, cross the line, they know that it's business with me. Friendship is one thing, business is another.
Well, and we were talking about that earlier.
These guys today are, now look, we went from one extreme to the other. For a while we had officers, and we still have some. The minute somebody spits on the sidewalk, we want to do an investigation and get them in trouble and go after them and everything else. Now we've gone to the other extreme of they sticking together, they form these bonds and these friendships, and it's so tight that, hey, I'm gonna cover for this guy, you know.
I really honestly, truly don't believe they don't understand the whole process as far as this separation where you draw the line where it becomes fraternization.
Right.
And they don't understand also the process as far as what you need to do as a supervisor when you have a guy that's creating a problem, and you have to identify it and address it at that point.
Well, we talked about that the other day.
Well, they hamstring themselves.
We got some cases right now where supervisors who are not supposed to be issuing counseling forms, because only a major or a chief can issue a counseling form, have issued counseling forms, lieutenants, at the rank of lieutenant. And for repeated violations, they just keep issuing counseling forms. Then they come in here and they want the guy fired, you know, when he does something serious. And says, man, I've given him 4 counseling forms. Well, you shouldn't have done that. After the first counseling form, it should have progressed to, because that's what the Civil Service Board catches you on. You just kept writing them counseling forms, now you want to fire him. No, you got to have a letter of reprimand, and next would be a suspension, and then maybe another suspension, then a termination, depending on the seriousness of the event.
But at what point did that lieutenant notify his upper chain of command? I mean, from the onset.
I think when you start seeing, repeated policy violations by the same guy, it don't have to be for the same violation. This guy's late. He had paperwork in his unit that he didn't turn in. You know, where they demonstrate that they're not following or following very few of the policies and procedures, you know, and general orders of the department. Or they keep getting IA probe. They keep getting citizen complaints, generating citizen complaints. You know, those are all indications that, look, you could be the best officer in the world. Look, Raquel. She was productive, man. She was in the top 10 every month. But she had terrible PR skills, and they finally caught up with her. I mean, that girl generated 46 citizen complaints while she was here. 46!
Greg, I know I read it in there. What was the total number of officers that participated in that audit?
You talking about with City Board or overall from Legends all the way?
From the beginning.
I want to see what,
You
10, 11?
got statements from 10.
10.
Is Nathaniel Betsy an officer?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, the others after that are the
1,
officers who
2,
went on the
3,
call.
4. 4 after that. 11 if you count Jeremy. So it'd
The
been
officers
11.
who went on the call.
Not that it's